Welcome to the Air Conservation Commission meeting on Thursday, August 13th, 2026, here in Town Hall, main meeting room. Here in attendance tonight is Member John Schmallenberger, Conservation Agent Heather Hampson, Conservation Clerk and Member Jeremiah, Member George Bacon, and Vice Chair George Bacon, and our new member, Andy McGregor, right? McGregor. I'm still learning his last name.
You should turn it the other way.
Yeah. Okay, first on our agenda is approval of the meeting agenda as posted. Any changes?
No changes to the agenda.
Anybody else have any changes to suggest? Okay. Motion, George.
Motion to approve the agenda is written.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the chair votes aye. Next on the agenda is approval of the wonderful meeting minutes taken by Jeremiah for July 23rd, 2026. Anybody have any comments, corrections, additions, changes to the minutes? Nope. Okay, hearing none. George, take it away.
Motion to approve the meeting minutes of July 23rd as written.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And the chair votes aye. Okay, next up is a discussion with Janet Providakis, who is, are you chair of the? Or just
Affordable Housing.
Chair of the Affordable Housing Committee, who will be discussing a housing production plan with us. Welcome. Ms.
Thank you
Providakis.
so much.
You're welcome.
You guys are awesome. I do appreciate the opportunity to go ahead and speak to you all with regards to, really it's going to be the housing forum, and on the calendar, on the website, the town's website, you'll be able to see this type of flyer. It is September 29th at 6 o'clock at night upstairs in the Great Hall. This will be our third time that the Affordable Housing Committee has done this housing forum, where we like to go ahead and discuss about things that are going on in town, especially with questions that will be, coming up or have come up during pretty much everybody's meetings of how we're doing on the infrastructure. What's the water like? What's the sewer like? Will it be able to handle more houses? And we like saying now, the ABCs of ADUs, the accessory dwelling units. We've had applications. People need to know a little bit more about those type of units. Also, what's going on with some of the zoning changes that have occurred so that you're able to get inclusionary housing, as well as the open space and residential development, where it looks as if, it used to be cluster housing, now they're going back to cluster housing, so that you've got more open area, open space that can be used instead of, like I say, just built upon. So with that, that's all the good successes. So we'll be talking about the successes, as well as some of the feedback from the residents that do show up, so that they're able to give us an idea of how they see, Ayer growing. Because no matter what, they're going to get the influx of individuals coming into town. And the whole thing behind it is, if you don't have a good inventory, prices are just going to keep going up. And we're trying our best, being an affordable housing committee, to go ahead and do what we can to try to keep affordable units coming. I gather you're going to be having a presentation from Peace Properties behind me, and that's one of the ones that we're looking forward to, 106 units within a few years. So hopefully they can start next year. So I'm coming to every single one of the committees, boards, commissions, to get feedback. This is some of the items that we have on the agenda. I know that some of the feedback has been, it'd be nice to find out what's the difference between, the different types of affordable, because you've got some that are subsidized by the state, which would be like your Section 8, your mass vouchers. And then you have some that are what we call small A. These are residents that have multifamily homes that they rent out their place, and they can do it dirt cheap, and it's just to go ahead and help pay off some of the mortgage, whatever. So we're going to have like a little more discussion about that, a little more discussion about what makes it affordable. When you're looking at how much people earn, what the area median income really means. So, like I say, if you look at people who work for the town, you work for, within the town, $15 minimum wage, you are definitely eligible to go ahead and get affordable housing, one way or another, some sort of subsidized. So these are some of the things that other committees have brought up. I've come here to Conservation because I do know I probably will be asking the conservation agent, to speak at this forum if she can make it. Okay, say I put people on the spot.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm just gonna put it in the calendar and make sure I don't have anything else that day.
That's all right. Just because of some of the items that you've been discussing for guidelines on tree removal.
Yes.
Okay?
Yep.
So that would be something that I know a lot of individuals who are interested in coming to this forum,
What time
September
is it?
29th at 6.
6. Okay.
There will be pizza. So that's always the enticement, okay? And we'll go ahead and have that. But yeah, I think that would be great, Heather, if you could,
Oh, yeah, I have it
if
on
you
there.
could make it. And I think,
My best.
you guys have made it in prior years, so we really, appreciate the support. And
What
I'll
night
shut-
of the week is that?
Tuesday.
It's a Tuesday?
it's a Tuesday night. Yeah, so which means we'll get people from town, the building here. Never mind. Again, I'll keep quiet. Any feedback of what you would like to have discussed with regards to the forum? Because it is the branch that goes into the housing production plan. We get that feedback. Anything?
I'm interested in this cluster housing that you described. I don't know what that means.
Okay.
I don't know a lot.
Well, and like I say, they put them all together instead of separate them out so that the lot sizes are smaller. And when there's what's called open space in residential development, again, I'm not going to give a lot away. Say if you've got 10 acres, 5 of it can be for building. The other 5 is for open space.
50% open space.
Correct. Thank you. But yeah. And one
As a
thing about
minimum. It
that's
could
the
be
minimum,
bigger.
is 50, yeah, it can be more. And the other thing too is that open space now becomes, the public can access it, all right? That's one of the agreements.
That's not always the case for OSRDs, is
I
it?
thought it was.
It
Go
isn't
ahead.
absolutely.
You create the open space, but it's no longer private.
It's correct. It's not always the case that they allow public access. It's one of those tricky things. The planning board can't deny public access, but they don't necessarily have to grant it.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
one of those tricky things. But we haven't had an instance where I think we have only had one that we haven't, but all of them have a trail or some sort of them on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know Panther Place has got a
Panther
trail.
Place will have a trail.
Right.
It's already cut in. Sugar Mill Pond has a trail.
Stratton Hill will.
Stratton Hill obviously will have
Right.
lots of open space. It already has
Right.
existing trails.
Yeah,
When Lincoln Hills is done, there is no plan to put a trail on there, but
But
we
they were
did not
talking about it.
restrict public access.
so,
If you ever, Andy, wanted to see a great example of cluster housing, you know where Autumn Ridge is? Across from the now empty hospital? Yeah.
Yeah, I Meadow Pond.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
go
Yeah,
in the back,
you can access
get
it from
to
that
Okay.
area,
Yeah.
or you can come. Yeah.
Walked into those trails in other neighborhoods.
Yeah.
okay.
But if you ever drive in there from Groton Harvard Road, you'll see a lot of open space and then a cluster. And that was not an OSRD, that didn't
No, that
exist
wasn't,
yet,
no,
but
yeah,
that was,
predated.
Yeah,
they
that
just
was-
did it because it was the right thing to do.
the right thing to do. Mm-hmm, yeah, and tuck it away there, so.
Yeah.
That's great.
And part
I'm
of
glad.
their,
It'd be nice to see you there.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
and part of their land down in the back in the wild area, part of that's open to the public. And then part of it becomes private to Autumn Ridge.
Mm-hmm.
It's posted.
Yeah, Yeah, the part by Snake Hill, right? You
Yeah,
know,
the part that connects to the gun club and
Right.
town
Mhm.
property
Yeah.
and power lines.
So when you do your housing forum, you look at the production plan, are you looking at, as far as, and what are you looking for specifically at conservation? Is it more or less open space? Or are you looking at us to say we'd like to see limited land clearing, native plants replanted, landscaping, or are you just looking at requirements as far as what we're thinking of for affordable housing as a whole?
well, the housing production plan isn't just affordable housing as a whole.
Yes.
Okay, it has to include everything. So it would be on how we're, you know,
How we're doing development.
how we're doing development. Okay, so that would be inside
Yeah, so
there.
that's always my main thing, is I always try to push that we need to be doing more green infrastructure when we're doing our developments, less pavement, more trees and green
Trees and
spaces.
green space. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And also is I don't know if you have any control over this at all, but people's yards are not a good environment for anything except for a small child. There's nothing in that yard that's insects like, birds like. It's just grass.
You're talking about, okay, I thought when you said yard, yeah, just grass. Again, I can talk until I'm blue in the face of, yeah, you're right. But there are so many individuals that are out there with their little scissors, you know, making sure that everything is trimmed so that their grass looks pristine.
Well, it'd be nice to have a lawn for kids to play in. I understand that for sure. It'd be nice to have part of the lawn too that would benefit everything else.
I think when we're going forward in some of these affordable housing units that we have in, like, took this bigger one here, we have bigger housing cluster development, where if it's a condo complex, or like we have at Lincoln Hills, you have the open space. If we can start looking at dedicating some of that for like a community garden, instead of everyone having to leave to go across town to the small community garden we already have, if they had one currently within their development that they live in, as that space to do that, then you take away some of that lawn and turn it into a purposeful place. And then everyone who lives there can then have a community garden, have a place to grow their own food, which I think would be beneficial.
And also to get a community going as well.
Yeah, sure.
You know, because again, just like when we go to the transfer station, you run into people, not over them. You know, it's
But that's always been one of my thoughts. I try to, when we were talking about 71, saying, let's put a community garden in there.
Well, that's one thing that we do try, you know, to make sure that.
I try to throw those crazy wild suggestions in my comments to the planning board. And again, they are just wildly crazy comments, but they're getting out there and they're getting in the public and they're getting into the developments here. So I'm hoping if they keep coming up, eventually someone will do one.
No. Again, one of these days I'll get my little cottages in an area with a nice community garden in the center. Go ahead.
I've heard of ones that do a wildlife meadow in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I might have a wildlife meadow that's also a bittersweet sanctuary.
Oh, okay. All right. No, thank you.
Sanctuary for
I don't want any. I don't want any
A
more.
bittersweet sanctuary for bittersweet.
Yeah, I don't want any more bittersweet. I have enough in my
It's a
backyard.
great learning tool to show people how their roots are orange.
That's true.
That's true.
That is true.
Crazy wildlife.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. It's like Jennifer, George, anything?
I think you might have mentioned this when you were going through kind of the things you already had on your list and everything, but one of the things I see often in our Always Reasonable Town Facebook page is talks about water and availability, and we all know we're always on rationing, drought or otherwise, and so I think that's really important to be open and honest about, and what the town plans to do.
Yep, I've got DPW going to go ahead and talk about that. And also too, you got to remember the mandatory water ban that we do have is state oriented. Yeah, but again, this brings all this to the public eye.
Which is what needs it, right? Because they don't necessarily show up to these meetings.
Correct.
But
Yep, and that's why APAC is going to tape it too as well.
Oh, good.
So that's going to be good. Yeah, and you know, if you can think of anything else, Heather can come, just reach out to Heather. Heather can reach back out to me, and we're always taking ideas pretty much up until maybe September 20th. Give myself a couple
We
days.
don't have too many other areas left in Ayer to develop. I mean, we have the 40B on Fitchburg Road that's coming.
That's right, which will be coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to block that one though. I am kidding.
That's why I'm going to sit through this meeting.
There's a corner of Central Ave and Groton Harvard Road. Now they're going to be
Nine units there.
units going in.
Yeah, and I think they're still trying to fight to get at least one affordable. See, if they're, one thing with regards to this inclusionary housing, if you have 5 units or more, one of them needs to be affordable. If you don't do the affordable, then there is a amount of money you can pay into the housing trust in lieu of. So I think they may end up doing the route in lieu of, which will give the trust a little more money. So.
What is the trust used for then?
The Affordable Housing Trust is the one that has the rental assistance.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay, and that's one of the things. But they also too were one of the money pockets that could give local funding to Devon's Crest when Devon's Crest got purchased by Devon's Crest Tenants Association and Chocket. So, Community Preservation Act funds were a big part of it, and then the trust was a smaller part.
And both of those were still a very small part.
Well, very
Of the
small
big
compared to
parts,
the
but they
big,
were-
for the big
They were a
purchase.
local demonstration
Correct.
of support.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, which the state likes to see. That's the whole
Yeah.
thing. But yeah, so, again, we'll have some, interactive games beforehand and, like I say, pizza. All right, again, thank you very much for giving me an opportunity, and have a great one.
Okay, thank
And I am
you.
going to sit here to make sure you get.
That we behave.
I've given you a good rock.
You want to sit with us up here?
All right, thank you.
Okay, so next on our agenda is the opening of a public hearing for a notice of intent. We don't have the full file number yet,
No, we
right?
do not.
For 65 Fitchburg Road, Peace Properties, doing a multifamily housing project under Chapter 40B. And this is opened up under both the Wetlands Protection Act as primarily, and then secondarily under the Air Wetlands Bylaw, which has limited jurisdiction because it's a 40B, but we have some. Anyway, welcome, and please state your names, and if they're difficult, spell them out
Even if they're not.
for our
just spell them out.
minutes.
Good evening, members of the commission. My name is Joe White from BSC Group. I'm a civil engineer, and I'll let Matt introduce himself.
I'm Matt Byrne, a professional wetland scientist and senior ecologist with BSC.
You have worked with us before,
Yes.
I believe.
Yep, I did a peer review on the Stratton
Hill.
Hill back a couple of years back now.
Yeah. Yeah, and we got a quite good outcome.
Good,
Mhm.
good. Yeah, I was
As
curious
good as
about
they
that.
could.
105 acres left for open space?
No kidding.
Yeah,
And
Excellent.
I think at least it might be 100, might be over 110, but I can't the
Wow.
exact number. But yeah, they kept everything south of the power lines.
Oh, good,
Yeah.
good. Yeah,
Yeah.
excellent.
Matt, I'm sorry. I heard that you were a wetland scientist. I didn't hear who you worked for.
A BSC group.
Oh, also
Yeah.
BSC. okay.
Yeah.
We do have a few slides. We'll
Yes.
just share with you guys, and then
Okay,
any
and
questions.
one quick question, your
Sure.
Peace Properties, is that related to NOAA or?
Yes, they are related to NOAA. So Peace Properties is the applicant. It was formerly NOAA when this went through the 40B process, which is almost, I think, 4 years ago now.
Right,
It's kind of, I think it was during COVID or during the tail end of
Yes.
COVID, different times.
Okay.
2022 to closed in January 2023, so.
Yeah, that's right.
Is NOAA no longer NOAA, it's now Peace Properties?
I'm not sure if NOAA is still in existence or how the ownership is set up. I can get an answer for you, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Not,
It does look fancy. You
Yeah.
got all the pieces.
okay, take it away.
Sure. We have a couple slides to run through, and then we'll take any questions. So if you just want to go to the next slide, let's talk about a little bit about the existing site, which I'm sure many of you know of. So the existing parcel is about 10.6 acres, located just west of the intersection of Route 111 and 2A, which is Park Street, Groton School Road, and Fitchburg Road, that three-way intersection there. The existing site, it's combination of developed, undeveloped. You can see towards the rear of the site, it's mostly woodland in there. Towards the front of the site, it's being used as a landscape contractor's laydown yard. So there's a mix of pavement, dirt. There's some piles of trees, stumps. I think there's firewood out there. On kind of the western side of the site, there's some piles of loam out there too. There's multiple resource areas on the site. If you can just go to the next slide, I have a list on there and some line work there. So on the site is bordering vegetated wetland, land subject to flooding, which is a FEMA Zone A there. Inland bank associated with an unnamed intermittent stream, priority habitat. So you can see the different color-coded lines there, kind of overlaid with that's the existing site we're showing there. So you can kind of see how towards the front of the site is all developed, and the resource areas are out towards the back of the property. Next slide. So proposed site development. There's 6 multifamily residential buildings being proposed. It's a combination of these 4, we call them flat style buildings towards the front of the property. So they're lower level. There's entrances on both sides to these. Those are going to be the ones along Fitchburg Road. And as you get back into the site, the kind of more central building is a multi-story, 3-floor, kind of more traditional apartment style building. There's amenity space in there. Laundry for the property is in there. A meeting room, things like that. And then to the west side of the site, where it says phase 2 there, is another more traditional multi-story residential building going there. There's a combination of surface parking and garage parking. So 114 surface parking spaces, and then the building on the west side there has all of the garage spaces. There's 44 proposed there. We have the phase 1 and phase 2 shown here, only because the more immediate hope plan for construction is the 5 buildings towards the front of the site, and then the building for phase 2 would be constructed a little bit later, once they kind of have that front portion of the site established. And then we have a full planting plan I'll go through, but we have a pretty elaborate landscape, hardscape. There's patio space. There's I think we have a playground proposed, all adjacent to the more central building. And you can see with the different resource areas and buffer zones how those kind of overlay with the proposed development. Next slide, please. Stormwater management. So there's 3 proposed subsurface infiltration systems. Right now we have them all as Caltech chambers, is what's proposed there. And you can see the red lines with the little dots, that's kind of their outlet, their overflow point, where those are located, just to give you a reference point there. Stormwater runoff from all impervious areas, with the exception of the roofs, are all going to go into a combination of deep sump catch basins, water quality units, before they get into those infiltration systems. And then roof recharge is directly connected to those infiltration systems. We don't need the pre-treatment for those. With utilities, back almost 4 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago now, when we were in front of the ZBA, let me back up. There's still no existing sewer in Fitchburg Road right now. We did find out from the town that there's a proposed sewer extension plan that's we think is going to be constructed in 2027. That's what we've been told anyway. So the original plan, before we knew of that, was to pump sewer out to the back of the site, kind of planned north through the wetlands, like underneath the wetlands and out in that direction. So with the new plan for a sewer extension, we got to kind of scrap that, which is great for everybody, and come out to the front of the site. So all the utilities now will be coming in from Fitchburg Road and not through the back of the site. The only other thing for stormwater management that I'll note, it was during the ZBA process, all peer reviewed, the stormwater management system as well as everything else. The only changes that we have made here is we were able to replace the chambers that we used then with chambers that are about 6 inches taller. So it allowed us to shrink the footprints of these systems, but keep a similar storage volume. But pre-treatment, kind of the whole, all the components of the system are all the same. Locations are the same. The bottom elevations are all the same as to what was peer reviewed about 3 or 4 years ago. Next slide. Yeah, Matt, you want to talk about the resource areas a little bit?
Yeah, so this actually presented a great learning opportunity for BSC staff, ecologists, because on this site there is priority habitat, as we show in that cyan color. So we've been, since 2022, we've been involved with NHESP with a MISA filing because we're going to nick the PRIHAB. But when it came to filling out the notice of intent, and then get to the question of, is there estimated habitat on the site? The answer is no. So while we obtained a conditional no-take letter from Natural Heritage for the MISA filing, we didn't have to file it with Heritage, the notice of intent for streamlined review. So you folks won't be waiting for a letter regarding implications of the project under 310 CMR 10.59. But we have provided the conditional no-take letter to Heather. And what you can actually kind of see it, there's to the plan right, there's a large radius, 75-foot radius circle with the radius indicated.
Point out on there too, where it's located, kind of on there.
Yeah.
It's right on that.
Right here.
Yeah.
And that was the condition that we, there's a rare plant that was known from there, and they wanted to have us erect actually they only asked for us to put flagging up to avoid it, but we're going to put up snow fence just to make sure that during the course of work nothing happens in there. So that's that. There is no alteration of BVW, so this is a buffer zone only project. Our limit of work line was a little sloppy at the top there. We're going to pull that back to show it properly. So no work in BVW. If you go to the next slide, I did want to demonstrate our attempt to comply with the bylaw, even though this is proceeding under 40B. We looked at total work in the buffer zone, and what we were showing in the combination of phase 1 and 2 is 13,163 square feet of impervious surface, and that's 10.6% of the entirety of buffer zone on the property, and then 24,925 square feet of pervious that will all be restoration planting at the end of the day. I think we've got one more on this track. Yeah, and we just wanted to show, if you're familiar with the site, it is currently disturbed, according to the definition in the bylaw, that much of the 50-foot buffer zone is currently disturbed. We do need to push it back in a couple of locations on the site, shown in pale green here. And so, it would result in 4,000 square feet of inner buffer zone grading and planting, and then overall 2,000 square feet of impervious surface in that inner buffer zone. But again, by avoiding having to cross the wetland to deal with sewage and the additional housing units that were originally considered on the northeast side of the site, we've dramatically reduced the overall impact of the project. And I think there might be one more for the planting plan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we do have a pretty elaborate planting plan for right now. We just have phase 1 because that's kind of the plan for more immediate construction. Part of what Matt was talking about, you can see kind of to the north part of this where it says phase 1. That area is all outside the curb line, and most of it's within the buffer zone. So we're planning restoration of that area. Most of it is already disturbed now, just with the contractor's yard that's out there. So we're planning some wetland seed mix and some trees and shrubs in that area just to restore that, because it's not really an area that needs to be used for the site development. Phase 2 planting plan, we're just not there yet, but we're anticipating it looking very similar, same mix of species, lawn areas, all those things. We do anticipate at some point we may need to come back to the commission for some sort of amendment or something once we finalize that planting plan, or figure out what that looks like exactly. So we are prepared to do that if we need to. So, but I just wanted to kind of explain why we only have a phase 1 planting plan at this stage. So I think that's all we have for slides. So if there's any questions or topics that anyone wants to talk about, love to.
One is, how definite is it that the sewer is going to get extended down Fitchburg Road? And that would be by the state because it's Route 2A, or is that the road is 2A?
I believe the town secured a MassWorks grant in order to put that in there, and they were working with DOT, and it is phased to go in. I'm assuming next construction season. So no, they did receive the grant, and that sewer line is going down. I think the town's trying to maybe extend even further down, help other businesses and other grants for it. But no, it'll definitely go down to service this development.
And we received a plan from the town engineer that showed us exactly where that's going and proposed and elevations and all of that. So we did prove that out.
I think because the grant was awarded earlier this year, I think the deadline and the amount of how long it's taking for the work to start until next year is probably due to the state road, but it is approved.
And just full disclosure, I'm on the zoning board, so I was part of the comprehensive permit discussion at that time. So, okay, start with questions from members. John.
The area, the undisturbed area, that's going to remain undisturbed.
There are, if you can go back one more, I think. Yeah.
There.
So we show the existing tree line. What this green area, the green highlighted areas show where the existing tree line would need to be pushed back. So it's a relatively small impact, but it's not zero.
And where exactly is the intermittent stream?
You can actually see it. Let's see. It's right here. It's got a.
You can flip that page to Matt. There's one that's not colored that might be easier to see.
Yeah. It runs here.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
To the site. To my eye, it's an old farm ditch. It's very wide, deep. It's not a typical intermittent stream like a little woodland stream.
Yeah.
Doesn't change its status. It's
Yeah.
a jurisdictional intermittent stream, but yeah.
But everything north of that intermittent stream will remain
Yeah.
undisturbed.
Yeah. No work up there.
Yep.
What's the time frame for completion of phase 1 and then starting phase 2? Do you have any?
So the applicant's going through funding process this fall, September, October, November, and as long as they get their funding that they're anticipating getting, we're on track to fill out that application and everything. They're hoping to start phase 1 in the spring, as early as they can, and then last I heard, the construction team, we had a meeting last week, and they're anticipating 16 months to finish phase 1, 16 to 17 months. And then phase 2, I don't have an exact timeline on, but I was told maybe within a year of completion, assuming we may need to come back for a little bit more, to amend a permit, or if the changes get extreme enough, a new permit, but I don't anticipate that. Last I heard was within a year, but I don't know exactly, because they'll have to go back for more funding for phase 2.
The erosion controls that you're going to put in for phase 1, will those just stay in until you're finished with phase 2?
It would probably depend on the timing and the stabilization for phase 1. Like if we can get everything fully stabilized, those might be able to come out and then we install new ones because there's no phase 2 work kind of on the eastern half of that.
Right.
You see the heavier dashed line there on the left?
Yep.
That's really all of the proposed phase 2 work. So there might be a little bit of overlap with erosion control, but if everything's stabilized in phase 1, obviously we'd have to, probably have you, Heather, out there, someone to take a look at it to make sure we're okay to remove it. But that would probably be the plan there.
There's a lot of times erosion controls kind of get left.
there.
Yeah, we're trying to push people more towards using silk soft biodegradable materials. So in case they do get left, they're not an eyesore and they are just to dissipate into the ground.
Yep, that's something we could do.
And the stormwater basins are, I see you had it for 100-year floods or 100-year events, which like a couple of years ago we had 2 of those in like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So this is, these are robust enough to handle that.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. And we do have them kind of segregated. The one to the north, right north, if you will, on the left side, that's only seeing stormwater from the phase 2 piece. So if that gets built a little bit later, it won't have any, impact for not being there for phase 1. All of phase 1 is going to those 2 systems in the front.
And snow stockpiling.
Yep.
Where might that be?
Yep. So let's see a good plan to go back to on that. Can you
I know it's
flip
on the
that one
plans.
more, maybe? Yeah, I'm not sure if we have it.
I know it was shown on the plans that we have. It's outside the buffer, I know that.
Yeah. So landscape islands, yeah, it is on the plan. So in front of some of these units, because the entrances to these units are all on the sides. There's no doors facing, this direction. So it would be on some of the lawn areas in here, this island areas in here that are outside the buffer zone. But primarily we have them on lawn areas in front of these units here. And there's some lawn area in here that could be utilized for snow storage too.
Can you indicate on there again exactly where that endangered plant
Yes.
is?
This circle here.
Okay, got it.
I think that's all I have.
Okay. Jen? George? Andy?
I've got a few.
Sure.
So, for more context, this is the first NOI that I've reviewed, so these questions are...
Congratulations. Welcome to the...
Oh yeah, this is awesome. Okay, so there's it's got a retaining wall in here. Where was the retaining wall?
Yeah, so the retaining wall is part of phase 2. So the retaining wall starts here, comes up to support this parking lot. And the real reason we have this, one, the wetland comes over in this area, but 2, and you may remember this, there was this flood zone out here, right?
Right.
And the maps were recently updated, like in the last 2 years, so since we were back before ZBA. And that little turnaround area kind of to the plan north, this one, was previously further down here. With the new FEMA mapping, the flood zone now comes in, kind of hugs this, and then actually goes out.
There we go.
Almost kind of fit us in here perfectly. We had to move this, and this retaining wall helps keep us out of filling into the flood zone, which then we have to do that sort of flood storage and all those things. So
And the
that's why the retaining wall is there. That's part of phase 2.
And the turnaround is for fire trucks, especially emergency vehicles?
So it's for emergency vehicles, but also if people were to drive down, the main entrance to that building is right there. So like if someone was saying if Uber or rideshare or delivery, and there was no turnaround there, it would be trying to figure out a way to 3-point turn in like a parking aisle. So it's a combination of emergency access, but also some place for vehicles drop off or delivery to turn around.
And how high?
Excuse me?
How high is the wall?
The retaining wall?
Yeah.
I think at its highest point, in that range at its highest point.
Okay, Andy, what else you got?
Okay, John and Heather got my silt fence question. That's good. This is just a silly one. So in the plan, I saw this map with looked like some like computer artifacts. This doesn't mean anything, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. It's the image you need to look at, but more importantly, it's that line, the flood zone, AE flood zone, is transcribed onto the plans, so that we make sure that the flood storage volume of any BLSF is taken care of. Great. That's the second FEMA map that's given me trouble in the recent weeks. I gotta figure out what's
They
going
are
on.
much better. I still miss the time we used to get paper plans.
Yeah.
They were so much better.
I know.
Without the Google Earth imaging over it.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next one was kind of nitpicky. If this is too in the weeds, skip it. So this is also out of my depth. So somewhere in the stormwater report, there was a soil that had an HSG A/D rating. Is that in this phase 1 or phase 2 development? I couldn't find where.
I can get you that answer, but probably not off the top of my head.
Anyways, the only reason I'm asking this
No,
is because it looks like the calculations were done assuming they had the A group characteristics.
Yeah.
But I think if they had the D group characteristics, then they would have not met their allotted.
Yeah, so what we typically do is when we're first looking at a site, we look at this web soil survey product that gives us a general mapping of the area, gives us these hydrologic soil groups, that HSG that you're seeing there. But then we do a whole bunch of test pits and borings to confirm that that's accurate. So we design it based on the test pits, based on the soils we're seeing there. That's more of a step that we look at as part of the stormwater management design for that. So we really design it based on the test pits at the end of the day.
So the test pits showed A group.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. And a lot of times in sites where, like, this is an urban site, but there's pavement and things like that, you'll get, like, not a clear hydrologic soil group. Like, it'll come back as, what's the word, like Udorphins or something? Or, yeah, like an urban fill type thing.
There's a catchphrase
Which
for
is,
that.
yeah, which is why we do the test pits.
New good word.
Yeah.
Human transported material, HTM, I think that's it.
Udorphins. Okay, thanks.
Sure.
And did you understand the reference to a no-take letter from Natural Heritage?
I didn't understand the no-take.
So this had to, because it has an endangered plant, it had to get a MESA review for Mass Endangered Species Act. But it's not priority habitat, am I getting that right?
It is priority.
It is
but
priority, not estimated
There's
habitat.
no
Yeah, so it doesn't need anything
So
from
the
natural,
tiers are
right.
priority is one level. Then
Yeah.
investigation.
Not exactly.
But
It's more that if you're in estimated habitat, that triggers jurisdiction under the Wetlands Protection Act. If you're in priority habitat, you're dealing with MESA, the Endangered Species Act, specifically. But if there's no estimated habitat, then the Wetlands Protection Act has no jurisdiction in regard to rare species.
Okay, so it's those two separate.
Two separate bodies of law. And it's relatively uncommon that you get a site that has pri-hab but not estimated habitat. So no, that's the more common thing, I think. But at any rate, you have these, usually it's going to be both. If you got rare species and you're filing a notice of intent, you're also going to be filing a MESA checklist. In this case, we didn't have to.
But Natural Heritage provided a no-take letter.
Yeah, I can print
Anyways,
another
which-
copy of it if you want to read it. You
What
can
a
have that
no-take
one.
letter means is that there's no risk of substantial taking of endangered species or.
Yeah.
If it helps you understand it a little bit more, you can have that letter.
Yeah.
I'll print another copy for the file. Not a big
Sure.
deal.
We're breaking them in.
Yeah, no, it's perfect.
Some light reading.
You can get various responses from Heritage for any project that they're reviewing. You can get a no-take, which is simply, we've reviewed your project, we've reviewed our records, there's no problem here, go forth and be merry. You can get a conditional no take, which says if you do X, Y, and Z, we find that everything's going to be copacetic and go forth and be married. Or you can get likely to take or probable take, I forget how they phrase it, in which case you then engage in a conversation with the Natural Heritage Program about how your project is going to be modified to avoid, minimize, mitigate, and then ultimately get to a point where they give it a stamp of approval. And depending on which regulatory framework you're working under, NISA and or Wetlands Protection Act, that's going to be a conversation with the Natural Heritage Program. And at the end of the day, the Conservation Commission has no authority over rare species. And so if there is estimated habitat, your responsibility is making sure that the applicant has filed with Heritage. And then you will be waiting for their response. But that's kind of, it's kind of a wonky thing, but it's a good one. It's a good one to
Thanks for
know.
bringing that up.
We won't issue an order until we've gotten that
Yeah.
letter from Natural Heritage.
Yeah, which is why Orion Park took so long.
Right.
And you've got tons of rare species up here.
Mm-hmm.
And
We're
great
not,
stuff.
We're not Groton. Groton almost the entire
Oh my
town
Lord.
Rare species.
Great.
is priority
Yeah.
habitat. How they think it's built, I don't know, but it does. We just have sections, and the majority of where there's wetlands, it's priority habitat. It's very rare that we'll have an application that comes before us that has wetlands on it that doesn't have.
Is that Petapog?
Yeah, we have two ACECs in town too,
Yeah.
so that's another thing that throws
Or is
that
that
off.
separate?
Yeah, ACEC is an area of environmental critical concern, and that's different. And it more or less is a like a watershed issue, whereas natural heritage is an endangered species. It's a plant, which is the first time I've had a plant,
Yeah.
a plant or an animal.
Okay, great.
Interestingly, the boundaries of an ACEC are very firm and they don't change at all once it's established. And a lot of information goes into establishing ACECs. And it's a whole legislative process and it's crazy stuff. The rare species polygons change and shift every 4 years.
Which they're in the process of doing.
Which they are, it's out for public comment right
Yeah.
now.
No, I gotta
So
look at
it should be published in November. But at any rate, they review their whole database of essentially citizen provided records. You know, if you're driving down the road and you see a Blanding's turtle, you can take a picture of it and submit it. That goes into the database. And so that's one of the primary things that drives the development of the Natural Heritage Database, but also their own scientists and our work and so on and so forth. But every 4 years or so, they look at all of their records and all the changes to the environment that have occurred, and they do a whole lengthy analysis and publish a new atlas every so often. So that's kind of where we're at.
Cool.
Now, my recollection when it was before the zoning board was Chapter 40B projects are subject, the comprehensive permit process for Chapter 40Bs is done by the zoning board instead of going to individual town boards like the planning board and so on. But the Wetlands Protection Act is a state act, so that Chapter 40Bs are not exempt under the Wetlands Protection Act. Now, however, there's a lot of mention of the bylaw here, and really appreciate that you're keeping as close to our bylaw as possible. The zoning board, I believe, did not waive the bylaw, the conservation bylaw,
Okay.
but we've been given a waiver request letter for this.
We have not. We'll get one.
No, we have.
I did.
Do we have? Oh, is it in there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's right there.
It is. I'm sure.
Yeah, for release, or
Yes.
from
Right. I'm
performance
sorry. There it is.
standards that are associated with our local bylaw, but not the Wetlands Protection Act. So that's one thing we have to make a quick decision.
Oh, yes,
decision
yes,
on.
we need to, yeah, if we,
Yeah.
we can vote on the waiver tonight, or we can vote on the waiver at the end, and it'll be incorporated into the order.
The other thing was under the zoning process, there was discussion, a peer review was done of the whole project then, but the conservation wetlands analysis was deferred at that point before it came to us. That's now changed substantially because of the removal of the sewer line going under the, or across the intermittent stream. So I think we would have to discuss, do we want a peer review or do we think it's not necessary at this point?
So I'll give you my opinion, but my opinion doesn't matter.
Well, I have an opinion as well.
My thought is, given the scope of the work on the site, I don't think it warrants the peer review.
Yeah.
Although I think Linda met at any conference and he did give me a name of a person we could use if we needed to, but I don't see the need at this point with the amount of work on site because it is minimal at this point.
I'm inclined to think that because of the changes that have been made and the minimization of impact and the thoroughness of the NOI submission.
I think it would be important though before the hub's decision is made to see the site because
Well, we have
I
to
know,
do a site walk.
Yeah, because I know
Yeah.
a large portion of it is developed. So most of this is most typically would be a redevelopment project. So I think when we go out and look at it, we might be like, oh, well, the wetland line is here, but there's still disturbed area way beyond that. So I think even that what was proposed, we're going to be looking at like
We will definitely
an improvement.
do a site walk so you get your first experience while the ticks are still out.
And the deer flies.
And they're not out. Oh no, they've really abated quite a bit.
Oh, have they? Oh,
Yeah.
I went to Pine Meadow. They were
But
horrible.
mosquitoes, that's another thing. They come out later. Okay, so we have to do the site walk and also decide on the waiver. But before we get to that, Heather, your concerns, observations.
I haven't gone through a complete deep dive on it yet. My only thoughts when we talk about lawn areas, and I like to try to see, I'm trying to see two things when we're going through and looking at conditions going forward if it does get approved. One would be to have, because the stormwater system is overflowing outfall towards the wetlands, to have signage along all catch basins that state this water flows into wetlands. I had a phone call today from a resident over on Sunflower Court, and there sounds like the entire development up there doesn't realize that storm drains drain into waterways and not into a sewage disposal system. So having signage there, whether it's added to the plans or it's going to be a condition in there. My other thought is, when we're looking at the wetland area and you're doing your planting, if we could possibly do almost like if you do the wetland mix, and maybe possibly almost like a natural meadow buffer from that going forward. Or if we're looking at that wetland mix not being maintained and just be allowed to grow wild, just so it kind of goes from maintained lawn and then gradually into the wild instead of just being like a rough edge.
Yeah, you're saying like a meadow buffer between the lawn and the wetland.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
If we can look at adding that into the plans, I think that would be beneficial to the area.
Okay.
That's my only comments right now.
Okay.
Obviously no solar.
John.
I had one other thought. There's currently a landscaping.
Yeah, it's like a contractor, like
Yeah.
a landscaping contractor's yard. So they have, if you can, actually, if you go back to the existing conditions
I can
plan
pull up
map,
the Google Earth if you want to see that.
might be able to see one of the aerial views too.
Well, my only thought is that they're notorious for moving things around, and I'm just wondering how many invasive species are
Yeah,
looming.
the BVW is all buckthorn, as you'd expect.
Yeah.
And, dealing with that is probably not reasonable. But I think that, I forget if we found, I should look at the wetland report, maybe. I don't think it was really bad, like there was probably bittersweet. I can look back in our details from our wetland work and see if we had any indication of invasive other than the buckthorn out there. No, doesn't look too
But I
bad.
know on the other side of Isaac Lane there is a ton of Japanese knotweed.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
But that's a whole other animal.
yeah.
When you,
I think that what we can do is as part of the operation and management plan for the stormwater system, include that, looking for providing invasive species management should the work result in. But you're right, the existing operations there are probably moving a lot of stuff around.
Yep.
The original delineation of the wetlands was done in 2020, and then you
Yeah.
redelineated this May, or reflagged this May.
Yeah.
Did you see any changes, any major changes from that?
No, and in fact, my delineator didn't have the flag positions in his machine, and we wound up with the same line, which is kind of nice to see. So,
Yeah.
No changes there.
Okay, so, so two things. Do we take a vote on the waiver, or
We haven't taken, it's entirely up to the commission how they want to do it. They want to do it all at the same time when we do the order, or
Yeah.
if they want to do it now. Straw vote on how they feel about it moving forward.
straw vote, it might be that,
If everyone's comfortable with it, so that way
Yeah.
they don't have to do any revisions to their plans.
right, so straw vote on
And then we can take the formal vote
the
later.
waiver for, I mean, most of this seems to be, where the work is, seems to be in already disturbed area, and if you drive by that area, it's pretty
Yeah,
ugly
it
right
seems
now.
that the work that they're proposing in that 50-foot is actually to redevelop and plant it. So.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
I appreciate that there have been proposed mitigation in some other areas, of restoring planting that isn't connected to the construction, so.
So
John?
can you tell me exactly what we're voting on? A waiver for?
To the 50-foot no disturb.
Yeah. So there's a little bit of work in, as I understand it, in areas that are currently undisturbed. Most of the work is in disturbed
Right.
buffer zone, but there's some areas that are, there are a few spots that are in undisturbed inner buffer zone. And we have that performance standard for that. So they're just asking for a waiver from that for this particular project, for those limited areas.
Put it out there.
It was that,
The
yeah,
area
that's
is-
the
That's the graphic.
I believe
That's the
the,
green.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the green would be new disturbance inside the 50-foot buffer zone. Everything outside of that is already disturbed
Right.
by the current use of the site. So that would be,
and I noted the total buffer zone for the site is about 125,000 almost square feet. The undisturbed inner buffer zone area is about, that would get disturbed, would be, saying this wrong, impervious would add about 2,009 square feet of disturbance into the undisturbed, and about 4,080 square feet of pervious surface would be included in that area.
Yeah. I'd be okay with it.
Yeah. Jen?
Yeah, official vote after we see it.
George?
Yeah, okay.
Andy? And I'm okay.
So that
So,
way we don't have to changing any plans and we can make the formal vote
Yeah.
later.
Yeah,
so we
yeah,
won't
yeah.
make a formal vote, as Jen suggests, until after we've done our site walk.
Yep.
But the auspices are good. So then the next question is site walk, a date, and then see what Heather has to say about what things we would want marked for that site walk.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I propose Labor Day.
Sure, it's 7 a.m.
6 a.m. I'm good with that.
So I'm up at 5:30 almost every day. So.
Yeah, me too. Sun's up.
First in my house, it's gonna be 45.
I prefer the moon. Okay, so so there's this Saturday, the 15th.
I'd be available this Saturday, not the following.
I'm iffy on the following myself, on the 22nd. Then the next one would be the 29th.
Which
so-
is after our next meeting.
Which is after our
Right.
next meeting, yeah.
So this Saturday.
So what, well, first, what would you want marked, and could that be marked by this Saturday?
Yeah, so we would need, I think having the 50-foot line marked, and the limit of disturbance. I think those aren't necessarily the same, right? The limit of pavement, I think, and then the 50 foot and the 100 foot. I think those are the three main things we would want if the commission has anything else. Just because I know the pavement, because everything that's not pavement is more or less just grading and replanting. So it's a temporary disturbance. It's not whatever going back. We're not doing wetland fence, whatever.
So you're kind of thinking the outer curb line.
The outer curb line, yeah, the end of pavement, and then the 50 and 100 foot line. That's my thought on there. Whether the commission wants to see some sort of line for the outfalls for the stormwater, whether it's just the location of the outfall or just kind of like an idea of where it's going, because I'm not sure how far into that wetland area it is going and how difficult that might be for you to flag and for us to even see,
Right.
but give us some sort of an idea where we know those outfalls are going to be. I think that would be the most important thing.
What about the areas that are in question for the waiver?
Well, because we'll have the 50 foot
That would be
line
the-
marked, so we'll be able to
just
have an
to
idea
see.
of where it is.
Yeah, maybe because
we'll
it looks
have
like
the
there's
plans.
three. Yeah, just maybe a marking of the furthest point in. It seemed to be little
It was like, yeah,
arcs.
yeah.
So maybe that farthest point in for each one.
Yeah, those are my only thought, yeah, because those are the biggest things within our jurisdiction would be the edge of pavement, the 150, and then, because we do have work in the 50, and then
Right.
where those outfalls are.
Okay, second question then is that something that could be done between now and Saturday, or?
Or,
Sean's going to yell at me if I ask him.
Yeah, do you think?
I can ask. What time would the site walk be Saturday? Because we'd probably have to stake it Saturday morning. Would be the most realistic thing. That's probably a fair amount of
So
work.
there's no particular rush on getting this notice through since you're doing funding this fall. So what about
Well, we do need. Well,
they need
we need
our
permits in
our permit
hand.
in order to
Yeah.
go for the funding.
Yeah.
Okay.
What would realistically, what can you do on Saturday? How long will it take?
I need to find out. So I need to talk to our survey people and see, one, is there someone available on the weekend? And two, can we get them out there and stake it? I mean, it is, so that's probably, there's a couple 100 feet probably associated with each one of those lines. So it's, it's probably 1,000 to 1,500 feet of staking lines. So
Yeah,
there's a lot of,
it doesn't have to be like
Yeah, no, I
the
know.
whole, it's just enough that we
Yep,
can get
I
an
get-
idea
yeah, I
sitting
get
out
it.
there like, okay, I know where it's going.
it's probably 4 hours anyway.
Could we do sort of early afternoon, and then Joe can find out whether or not that's feasible on our end with our survey crew?
I'll try to find out first thing tomorrow.
Yeah. But what I'm thinking is set it for.
Yeah, if
First
we-
thing Saturday morning to
Yeah,
stake.
we can,
I could do that.
You could.
yeah, so I can.
Okay.
So
They can't do
when does the funding process start this fall? When would you need, what's the latest point that you would need a response from us for the funding?
Well,
I don't
right
know.
now we're looking at those two. We don't have a DEP number. I don't know what comments are going to come back from
Right.
DEP. So even if we get DEP's comments by the next meeting and changes or anything need to come out of that,
Yeah,
we're still looking at a third meeting,
right.
regardless. If DEP comes back perfectly clean,
Okay.
then it may just be a two and done. But I have no idea what is going to come out of DEP's comments.
Okay. So how
Just to have an idea of what's going on our end.
So how are people's calendars for Saturday the 29th?
That would be perfect for me.
That would give you plenty of time to get things marked. We would continue this public hearing to the meeting following that, right,
Which is the 10th.
which is September 10th.
Would we still want to discuss,
the 29th?
like, we do have DEP comments back and everything, if we want to
Doable.
discuss on the 27th
Oh,
before
yeah,
we-
for us.
What do you think?
We can actually continue. What we'll do is we'll continue to the 27th. That way, if we do get DEP comments back, and if there are any items that need to be discussed in regards to that, we can do that. And then we can have and we won't have anything completely done until after our site visit and
Right.
until the 10th.
But then we'd be ready to go.
But then we'd be ready to go. If that
Right.
way we're not holding anything up, we're not delaying you to the end of September because we continued this for 4 weeks.
If, on the other hand, we haven't heard from DEP,
Yeah, and then we
we'll
can
just
always
again,
continue.
and you don't have to come in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I reached out to the circuit rider today,
Yeah,
and
Emily.
she forwarded it on to the analyst. So
Yeah.
we don't have an answer yet, but I knew this was multi.
Yeah, DEP's been taking a little bit longer than normal for their reviews, and that's not a thing on DEP. They've been chronically understaffed for decades.
Yeah. Worse
So
now.
what time? What time would that be? Then?
So September 29th.
No, August 29th.
Or
August 29th.
I actually wrote 9/29 too. So I just said that.
Right, because it's Heather's fault because she mentioned the next meeting on September 10th, so it's, she
So
put,
we've turned the calendar already.
yeah, I mean, it's all over. Okay, August 29th,
I can do anytime.
what,
8 o'clock?
8 o'clock?
Is that
Okay.
okay with you?
Of course, it's not okay with her, but that doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'll rise to the occasion, literally and figuratively.
Does that
And-
work for your team as well?
8 o'clock?
Yeah.
And what's the best place for us to meet and park and meet?
Can I talk to the applicant, just because it's a
And
working
then-
contractor
Sure.
yard, so I just
Yeah.
want to find out and I
Right.
can relay it to
And let Heather know and
Yeah.
she'll let us know. Okay. Location TBD. Okay. So I think that we've covered everything we can cover for tonight. Any comments from the peanut gallery out there
No,
or
on
residents?
August 29th.
No other members of the public here. Any further comments from commission members or Heather?
No.
And any questions for us from YouTube? Okay, so that
If
said,
I come up with any comments or questions, I will email them to you just in case anything needs to be worked out.
okay, so motion to continue to August
27th.
27th with a site walk to take place on August 29th and further meetings after that.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And the chair votes aye. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
So 2 lefties, huh? You guys running packs, right?
Yeah, we gotta stick together.
It's International Left-Handed Day.
Today?
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Yeah, my youngest is left-handed too. I meant to tell him when I
And we're walking out of here
forgot.
without an approval.
Right, and that just goes to show.
And thank you for the little bit on the estimated versus priority
course.
habitat oversight. I actually learned a couple things I wasn't quite as clear on.
Yeah, this came up and I had, it was funny, I sent a message to, we have a licensing and permitting mentoring group for our staff that are, young. And I said, I got to come on and present about this because it's really interesting.
So that was like hot off your
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And I've been involved in this project since 2020. And it was only when I was filling out the paperwork and got to that question on the Form 4 that I'm like, wait a minute. I don't have to file with Heritage.
Well, if you ever want to do a presentation with MSMCP or
Yeah.
MACC on this particular site for that,
Yeah, yeah.
I would, that would be wonderful.
Absolutely. Yep, definitely. And I was going to suggest, myself and, I had her name, but it went away. North County Land Trust, Anna.
Yes, Anna, yep.
She and I did a presentation at MACC Fall Conference about open space residential development and how to make meaningful open space decisions.
Yep.
So that might be something that we can connect with the
Yes.
housing.
Listen.
I mean, Faith Salter is the director of North County, lives in town, so.
Oh, great. Yeah. And Anna and I go way back.
She's easy to
and-
get a hold of to ask her that question,
Good.
and she's on my sustainability committee too, so.
Perfect. So we've got a ready slide deck that
Awesome.
we could present somewhere or
great.
whatever. So
All right, well, I'll mention that we can look at that for, possibly have the sustainability committee bring that to the planning board maybe when they're on their quieter stream of things,
Yeah.
maybe.
great. Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for all the good information.
Sure.
All right, next on our agenda is Conservation Office and member updates. Take it away, Heather.
Okay, a couple things. I approved and had administrative approval for a shed at 7 Gaskin Lane, which is the new Panther Place subdivision. The shed is on existing lawn within the allowable. It's not outside the do not disturb. It's the boulders on site. So I approved that this week. Request for certificate of compliance for 33 3rd Street, Lot 3. You remember that's the end of 3rd Street at Marshall Street that we had the flood necessary storage on site. The property has a vinyl fence around the whole thing, so I could not see it from the cart path at Grove Pond. So I called David Ross today and notified them that I do need to get on the property to see it. They are also in the process of, they will be submitting to the planning board for their stormwater management permit to get that closed out. So when the as-built gets in electronically, we'll have the town engineer Matt here and look at that as well to make sure that the container storage is enough and constructed correctly, as well as we'll get on the site and look at it on the town side.
If you had a drone, you could just.
Yeah.
I know. You know, being the building department, we both want one, but I'm afraid if I don't know what the regulations are, if I could use it for enforcement or not, and how that falls in, the FAA and airspace. I don't know.
You know, that would be a great thing for at the MICC conference too.
Where was that? I think it was the Watershed Association, something that they were having a drone workshop. The next meeting we will have on the 27th, beyond the continuation of this, we will have supposed to be getting an NOI filing for the DPW for the Groton School Road culvert replacement over James Brook. Over by, so if you know Groton School Road at all, where that pump station is on the side, there's a bridge right there. They need to replace that. So they'll be coming before on the 27th. Right, so on James Brook. So if that filing is submitted tomorrow, it'll be here on the 27th, if not, they'll push back a week. Speaking with Matt today at a stormwater meeting, that'll be construction for next year. What else do we have? I did receive 2 requests for information. One on 7 Robbins Road. The homeowner there wants to put in an ADU on their property. They do have all wetlands behind it. I did notify them that they need to have the wetland area delineated before any sort of decision on it, because they need to have that delineated before they can even know where they can construct, and if they fall in 50 foot, 100 foot, or where on that. Similar to a person who lives up in Pingree Hill, and I can't remember which street off of there, but their house lot actually comes off of their cul-de-sac up in Pingree Hill and comes all the way down to Littleton Road, and they were looking at the possibility of them actually subdividing their lot. Similar thing, wetlands run completely through it, so I let them know that they'd have to delineate that. And because that one's not actually disturbed, like the Robbins Road one, that we do have that still 50 foot no disturb that they would have to stay out of. So that would limit what they could do for construction on that property.
Sorry, the address on that.
I can't remember where, it's up in Pingree Hill, the property of what's Littleton Road. I can't remember the exact address, it's a weird one. In the street.
Sorry.
Yeah, so in our regulations now, we have a distinction between, we regulate the Wetland Protection Act and our bylaw have jurisdiction over the 100-foot buffer zone, but we added protections to the inner buffer zone, 0 to 50 foot, particularly for land that is currently undisturbed.
A couple upcoming events coming out of town. The Sustainability Committee, one of the members there, and the committee itself, wanted to hold a work day at Pine Meadow to work on doing some invasive species removal. So that'll actually be on the 29th. I'll just go from one to the other, it's fine. We'll be on the 29th from 10:30 to 12:30 if anybody wants to come. We will be getting tools from our National Watershed, so all you need to do is bring your gloves, bug spray, and water.
And where?
We'll be doing it at Pine Meadow.
Yeah, but where?
So we'll be meeting at the
Groton
Harvard Road at the parking lot there. I do have some trash bags if anyone wants to pick up trash along the side of the road or in the parking area. And then the focus is going to be more or less just on the pathway and just do as much work as we can within a few feet off the path, remove whatever invasives are on there. We're not going to go onto the shoreline just because if we start removing invasives on the shoreline, then we worry about erosion, and without a planting plan after the fact, it's going to cause conservation issues. The other thought is if we run out of invasives to remove, if the path going up around the solar panels in the dump there, landfill, tends to get overgrown, then we'll be able to maybe try to do some trail clearing and stuff in some locations as well. But we're only asking people to come for about an hour and a half. That way it's not overly
And are you
taxing.
going to be the one identifying the invasives versus?
Well, I think it's simple. We're trying to keep it to easy ones. Like here's bittersweet. Just get rid of this. Try to focus on here's this one, this one, this one. If you don't know what it is, don't touch it.
Yeah.
Move on until you find one you know. That's usually the easiest way.
Okay.
After the site visit, I'll go there and I'll probably be there for an hour or so, and then I'll skedaddle because of overtime issues. The library is holding a community read of. I had the book and I forgot it.
About lawns, right?
Well, it's about having. It's basically it's based on it's like home nature, whatever. It's They have 30 copies of the book at the library, so I'm sure if anyone wants to read it, they have plenty of copies at the library to read it. The event will be on the 26th of September, so we have plenty of time to read the book. Sustainability will have a table, so I'll be there, wearing both hats of conservation. There'll be other conservation groups there, Pace, North County, and Devon's. For that, so people can ask questions to us. We'll hopefully have something on the sustainability side to give away, whether it's seeds or signs. And it's loosely based on, there's the Homegrown National Park website. We're going to try to get on the sustainability page, and people who have native plants or wildlife gardens on their property can actually request that their property be pinned on the National Homegrown map. And currently there are 6 pins in this town of Ayer.
Would our yard?
I don't know how many native
Qualify?
plants do you have? Do you have a lot?
Yeah.
Then yes, it does. And I'm going to try to get signs made up so people can actually put a sign in their yard if they want, like a temporary sign. And we'll hopefully be able to have enough to give out during that event if people want for that. So that is on the 26th of September. And then
The book is Nature's Best Hope, a
That's
new
it.
approach to conservation that starts in your
thank you,
yard.
Nature's New Best Hope. Okay, thank you. And then we still have to work out a time. I still work time with Beth from Devon's on the 19th. I'm very busy. On the 19th of September? Yes, the 19th of September, we're looking at doing a pocket forest work day at Sandy Pond School to try to train some people on how to do the ongoing maintenance for our pocket forests. So we're gonna a definite time will be put out that, and there'll be information on that. But
And that's the Little Red Schoolhouse.
the Little Red Schoolhouse,
historical
on Westford Road, the corner
Yeah.
of Westford Road and Sandy Pond, September 19th.
That little forest is doing great.
It is doing great. We heavily mulched it, and it really made a difference on having weeds coming up on that one. It's doing well. Faith Salter and the church were over at the pilot site this afternoon, and they finished redoing the walkway through there on East Main Street. So if you want to walk through a pocket forest, then the walkway has been reestablished in there, and she did put a birdhouse in. You can get some birds living in there. But that's all I have.
Okay, any member updates? John? Jen?
Nope.
George? Andy? Me? None. Other than a sparrow landed in my hair at the transfer station because it knew I was, on the Conservation Commission, it knew it was safe. So, other than that.
Is that Cinderella that has all that? Or
Oh, yeah.
Snow White in my head.
is that Snow
Snow
White?
White?
You're
Snow
right.
White, okay. Yeah, well, I think I fit that.
They all were at one.
Yes. Okay, with nothing else, motion to adjourn.
So,
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Chair votes aye. 8:20, we have adjourned.